In this video, we are going to do our parent function for our graph of tangent of theta. And this one's going to be a little different than our sine and cosine. And we're going to look at a little different values for our theta as we go around. So we are going to take a look, and this is going to be our table of values, part one. Notice this time I'm not just using my quadrantal angles, I'm using my pi over 4s, my multiples of pi over 4. And the reason I'm doing that is because the graph of tangent isn't going to oscillate up and down like our sine and cosine did, so I need more than just the quadrantal angles. I chose to use our multiples of pi over 4 because when I look at my tangent, so remember that's this number that I put off to the side here, which is y over x, or sine over cosine. When I look at my tangent, notice that at all of my multiples of pi over 4, it's either 0, undefined, 1, or -1. So it's still nice, easy numbers to graph, whereas square root 3 over 3 or square root 3 is going to give me kind of nastier things to take a look at. So I'm choosing to look at my multiples of pi over 4. Now, notice here, at 0, it's 0. At pi over 4, it's 1. And remember, at 90, at pi over 2, it's undefined, because that would be 1 over 0. 0 in the denominator is no, and so that one's going to be undefined. So let's write those in on our table of values. At 0, it's going to be 0. At pi over 4, it's going to be 1. And at pi over 2, I'm going to put a little line. That means undefined. Then as I continue around, at 3 pi over 4, it's -1. And at pi, it's 0. -1 and 0. That's not a negative, it's a line, which means undefined. Okay. So that's our first little piece. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do our next table of values, and I'm going to continue around my unit circle from pi to 2 pi. Again, I'm going every pi over 4. So this is pi. We've already said that that's 0. That's 4 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 6 pi over 4, reduced, 7 pi over 4, 8 pi over 4, reduced. So as I continue to go around my unit circle here, 5 pi over 4 is right here, and that's 1. Then at 3 pi over 2, it's undefined. Then it's -1, and then it's 0. So, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I am going to go 1, undefined, -1, 0. 1, undefined. Oh, look at that. That's the same. Okay, and then I'm going to go backwards on my unit circle, maybe. So I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go clockwise this time, starting at 0, which we already said was 0. And this time I'm going to go backwards. -pi over 4, -pi over 2, -3 pi over 4, -pi. So going backwards, again, I'm plotting the tangent, which is the one we wrote off to the side here. 0, -1, undefined, 1, 0. 0, -1, undefined, 1, 0. All right, so now we are going to plot these. So we're going to draw in our coordinate grid. And again, I'm going to space them. This time I do need values bigger than 1. Let's watch what's going to happen. It's pretty cool. Again, I'm only going to 2 pi and backwards to -pi. So I'm not going quite as far as I did before. So this is pi, this is 2 pi, this is -pi, that's pi over 2, negative, positive pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, and then 2 pi. And I'm just going to put marks for my pi over 4s. Okay, so rather than going back and forth, I've got my unit circle sitting here in front of me, and I'm just going to go ahead and plot these points. So at 0, it's 0. At pi over 4, it's 1. At pi over 2, it's undefined. At 3 pi over 2, it's -1. At pi, it's 0. At 3 pi over 4 is what I meant to say for that one. Pi. And then at 5 pi over 4, it's 1. At 3 pi over 2, it's undefined. I'm going to make this one a little bit more clear. Then at 7 pi over 4, it's -1, 0. And at the next one, it would be 1. Now, let's go backwards before we draw this in. At negative pi over 4, it's -1. At negative pi over 2, it's undefined. At negative 3 pi over 4, it's 1. At negative pi, it's 0. And then the next one would be -1. Watch how this draws in. Just like that. It's going to follow along those asymptotes. Just like that. It's going to continue going down like that. So this graph looks significantly different than our sine and cosine. We're going to talk more about why it ends up looking like this, why we get those asymptotes at our odd multiples of pi over 2. And I want you to think about how you're going to give the period, the asymptotes, the domain, and the range. This is going to take some thought, but I need you to attempt it, and then we will go over it together after everybody has submitted their notes, or actually tomorrow, whether you have submitted your notes or not. So to get full credit, you need to have an attempt at what is the period. How do you tell me what the asymptotes are? That's the dashed lines I drew. What is the domain? Notice it is not all real numbers. And what is the range? It's going to take some thought about how to phrase that. So do your best, and then we'll chat about it tomorrow.